Good afternoon. It's once again Friday in the PM, and this is your host for the next 25 minutes of Hotline 21, the most interactive television show on earth. And I say interactive because you, the audience, sets the pace. You determine basically what it is that we're going to talk about. And I always look forward to giving you a little update, first of all, on what's going on at the federal level. Right now, I must confess that many people in America have their fingers crossed and are hoping that we don't find ourselves in an international crisis that leads to war. I've never been to war. I've never been in that kind of war. But General Sherman had a statement about war back during the Civil War, and he said, "Gentlemen, war is hell." And I think if war was hell then, it would be twice as hellish now, with all of the super weaponry that does exist. And I don't know if anybody could escape it. So President Trump, and I'd like to hope that he and the leader in North Korea would be able to maintain some accord. So right now, that's what much of America has been focused on. We've been away from Washington for 2 weeks, and a lot of folks are saying that's good because they know that it can't be hurt. But we left the president there, and so that's kind of, you can't say it's good for the others to be gone, and the president is still there. So that's the national scene. Right now, we have all of the investigations are going on, all of the conversation is going on about lots of things that could have happened, that shouldn't have happened, and may happen again if we're not careful. But we're going to talk about reentry in a sense, and reentry from the eyes of a group and what it is that they are doing. Could you just go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. Hi, audience. My name is Marcus Knight. I am the Director of Programs at an organization called Freedom House Reentry, Education, and Employment Corporation.
And could you tell our viewers what that is?
Sure. It's an organization that has tasked itself with one simple mission. It is to provide wraparound services for formerly incarcerated individuals, veterans that are incarcerated, and their families.
And I would assume that the purpose is that you can keep them from returning to jail, to prison, to a former way of life, and that life can be better for them and for all
Absolutely.
of those who interact.
We know that in Illinois, 70% of individuals that are incarcerated are there for nonviolent offenses. And you have these people that are being incarcerated, they're kept there, they come out, and we know that through research also that individuals that are incarcerated for nonviolent offenses, they're more likely to commit new crimes. And our whole purpose is with this application, with our program, is to position these people for success.
Well, I was talking to someone the other day, and they talked about no entry. Any of the programmatic things that you and your organization are engaged in, will they assist with the concept of no entry? And the reason I say that, I've always believed that an ounce of prevention is worth much more than a pound of cure.
Absolutely.
My mother used to tell us that, and I didn't always know what she meant. I'd be trying to figure out what she's talking about. And I guess she was saying, if you can keep something from happening,
Yes.
then you don't have to try and correct it. You don't have to try to cure it, because it never happened in the first place. What can we do to keep some of the things from happening that gets people in trouble with the law or get them in jail or prison. We are the most imprisoned
Absolutely.
nation in the world. On the
Yes.
face of the earth. Whether you're talking numbers or whether you're talking percentages of the population.
Absolutely.
So what can we do to have no entry?
So, I mean, just outside of the context of our program, we know that people have basic needs. So, one of the many factors that are associated with individuals getting involved in criminal activity is employment. Having access to steady income, having access to gainful employment is one of the major deciding factors, not only for the individual, but also too for the community, because the community health is extremely important when we talk about social domains. What tends to happen is in the media, you're very focused on the individual, and a lot of rhetoric begins to talk about the person and the mistakes they made, but we forget that there's several domains that make up the nation that we're in and the world that we're in, and we have to take care to ensure that we're minding to our community as much as we are minding to the individuals that are there. And through the application, we are catching people as they are coming out of incarceration, but while we are working diligently to get them employment opportunities, we're hoping that after the program has finished for them within the 6 months, that they do have that gainful employment. And with that, we know that when people have employment, they are able to take care of themselves, and they're much less likely to go to prison.
It seems to me that we have more men who are engaged or who get caught for being involved in criminal activity that go to jail and prison than women. Why do you think that might be? I mean, why more men, more males than females?
Oh, well, I mean, there's tons of theories out there. Just looking at just society as it is, males are tasked with a lot of social pressure when it comes to taking care of their families. And we're talking about males in general, not specific ethnicities. And I would imagine when we talk about that, and when we do get into ethnicities and certain nuances of where people are, it becomes to be an issue of culture and also environment too. And with these two things packaged together, you start seeing a lot of trends where certain things are glorified, in addition to the environment now reinforcing the lifestyles that are now glorified. And people, unfortunately, they get caught up in it very easily, and it's through no fault of their own for the most part. A lot of it is contributed to the lack of resources that are around. If I may step back, Congressman, I didn't really go into the program and what we do. So Freedom House, Reentry's flagship program is the Get Help Back program, and it takes a very innovative approach to reentry. So what we do is we have created an application on a smartphone, and individuals that are in the program 24/7, day or night, 3 a.m. or 3 p.m., they're able to access our services for 24/7 support. And we're talking about everything from employment to job opportunities to if you need diapers for your child, identification, if you need to get your hair cut. These resources that are, of course, crucial, but also to help you feel like a human being. So I'm sorry, hopefully I didn't go too much on a tangent, but I really think it's important when we talk about males in Illinois, we're talking about minority males, that it's a matter of culture, and it's also a matter of environment.
All right, let's go to the phone and see what our caller has to say. Caller, are you there? Yes, caller, are you there?
Yeah, Connie Davis.
Yes, sir.
Now, now you already know what's going to happen between Donald Trump and the Korean leader. You already know what's going to happen. And I'm glad God's on your side. And I'm glad you go to church. But I'm just going to sit back and watch what happened between Donald Trump and the North Korea leader. And Kurt David, I hope you have a nice holiday. A nice time at the parade tomorrow.
All right.
We'll have another event at the parade, the one on the west side.
Well, I intend to be there. I mean, I haven't missed the Bud Billiken parade in many a year, and so I expect to be there with my Billiken clothes on and just Billiken right along. It's a great cultural event, especially for the African American community, and I would urge everybody to come on out and be a part of it. Get out of the house, get off the couch, come on out and be a part of the Bud Billiken parade. Help motivate our children to go back to school being ready. Caller, are you there?
Good evening, Dr. Davis. You represent the 7th District. I'm going to try to keep my comment on task. When you look at the current person that's in the White House right now and the things he's saying in towards reentry, and he had made comments about when the police arresting somebody, don't be concerned about, putting their hand on their head and make sure they don't get hit, and like he encouraging certain types of negative behavior in the law enforcement. And he's saying certain things that are going to cause the United States maybe get into a war. And I don't understand certain things. Like with the words that he used, like he encouraging police brutality, and he encouraging other things. And I said, thank God for Maxine Waters. She's leading the charge to have him impeached. And the things he's saying, I don't understand it. Maybe you could explain something to me. We had another president by the name of President Clinton. He went through impeachment proceedings because he got a Scooby-Doo job in the White House. And here, this man, he could lie left or right, and he could cause all different types of problems for the United States, and he's not going to impeachment proceedings?
Well, it's kind of tough because of the fact I think that he and his political party represent the majority at the moment, and the majority rules practically all the time. And if we can ever get a few more members who are part of the majority to join up with the minority, then of course that's what happened with the health bill. The majority couldn't get any of the minorities to break, and we still got Obamacare.
Some of his own people is against him, and he embarrassed them. And I don't see a reason why, I don't see the reason why he's not going through impeachment proceedings right now. Take care. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you very much. And there are millions of people in this country who feel the same way that you do, that it may be time for the president to go, but can you muster enough power and enough influence to make it happen? Well, we'll see. Going back to our question of reentry and African Americans, we actually have a big conference coming up on September the 8th and 9th at the University of Illinois at Chicago, where we will hopefully have 1,000 males to come through that weekend. We want to get at least 500 boys and at least 500 men to come through there so that we can interact. Friday evening, we will have a reception from 5 o'clock to 7. 7 o'clock, we have our opening general session, and we're going to have dynamic speakers every time we get on the floor. So come on out and be a part, and then Saturday, come early Saturday. Come at 8 o'clock so you can get yourself a continental breakfast and then be there ready to kick off at 9. We are excited about it. Anybody that know a man, tell him about it. Anybody that know a male, we have a press conference tomorrow, not tomorrow, Sunday morning, because we have something called Black Male Sunday going on at many of our churches, where the ministers have promised to at least say something in their sermon about African American male, and some of them are putting things in their bulletin, and we're trying to raise the level of awareness in our city and in our county about black males and what's going on with us. We'll take this call. Caller, go right ahead.
Yes, sir. How you doing,
Doing fine.
Congressman? You're looking mighty spiffy once again.
Well, today is Friday.
Oh, my goodness. Boy, listen, not everybody makes it, but the people that go to school, the people that mind their parents, the people that don't get in trouble, those are the path makers that we need, right? Like the young gentleman next to you and yourself. But if you're going to let people influence you, drugs, and they're not going to make it, period. So what we got to do is kick them early, mighty, mighty early. But you know what gets me? Like the gentleman next to you says, half of the people in prison, they commit a bad crime. But you know what? Half of those were felons, and they pleaded down to a misdemeanor. That's why they are what they are. But regardless of all of that, like I said before, Congressman, we got to get back together. You got to start it because you're the main man for me, and get this beautiful city of ours back to where it was once.
All right, let me thank you and let me ask our guests,
Absolutely.
can we really help people? Do they really
Yes.
get help where they change their lifestyle, change their way of thinking?
Yes, sir. So I like to respond, actually. I'm not making excuses for anyone. So this isn't about playing a blaming game. The statistic that I quoted was 70% of individuals currently in Illinois prison are there for nonviolent offenses. And that kind of leaves something to think about when you are talking about paying $38,000 a year for individuals to be housed. But I think that people genuinely, and this isn't for everybody, not to make blanket statements, people genuinely want help. And we know that based off of research, there was a research study done by Ready to Work. It was a national study done around reentry, and it was quoted that, it was a program that was focused on job development. And despite the fact if people got jobs or not, 39% of individuals did not recidivate after the program. And so that shows you that if we are able to provide support, if we're able to at least be there for individuals and provide them with some sort of a position where they could really breathe and they can take off, then that's what we should do. And that's what my organization is positioning ourselves to do. So with the Get Help app, like I mentioned, we're open 24/7. We have peer mentors that are also formerly incarcerated people. They've been down that route. Most of them have spent 10 years plus incarcerated, and they're there to walk people through that process, which is daunting and is full of barriers. And when we talk about, just what people encounter, the social exclusion, not being able to navigate through the system. And we have done all the footwork with our program to position people in the best way possible. So at the end of our 6 months, these individuals, if they're in need of jobs, they have jobs. If they're in need of housing, they have housing. If they're in need of support, we can direct them to organizations that have that. We're acting as a conduit for the organizations that work in Chicago, that work in Cook County, that do great things.
All right, let's go back to the phone and see what our next caller has to say. Caller, are you there?
Yes, and I just want to commend the young man for all his excelling work that he's doing.
Thank you.
And continue on and reach as high as you can and go as far as you can. And Congressman Danny Davis, I would hope before I leave this planet that we will bring back to the school system the PTA and not the local school council that is not helping African American kids and family, because we're losing more schools under that arrest.
All right. Well,
Yes.
I'll keep on. I met with Frank Clark just 2 days ago, who is the president of the school board. And the next time I meet with him, I will make that recommendation to him that we get the PTAs more involved and bring them back. We got another caller on the line, so let's see if I can get that caller in. Caller, are
sir.
you there?
Yes, Congressman, I try to make this real quick. And it's a great day to be on God's green earth. To your guests, back in the day, they used to see when people do long bits, 15, 20 years, and they come home and they go back again. And they used to say they cannot adjust to civilization. They used to being institutionalized. It seemed like it was a bad stigma that they put on them. So what I'm calling to say this, I believe anyone can change if they want to. But do they still use that same stigma? Let me get out there and hear your response, and thanks for taking the call.
All right, let's see if we can get this caller in and we can respond to both inquiries. Caller, are you there? Yes, caller, are you there?
Hello.
Quickly.
Hello?
Yes, go right ahead.
Congressman Davis, this
Yes,
has
sir.
nothing to do with what you're talking about. I know you. I'm from Arkansas.
Land of opportunity. First opportunity I got, I left.
Yeah, I know you're here now, and I've met you before. We've talked about going fishing down home. Listen, this is what I want to know. I know this is nothing about what you're talking about. I want to know why North Korea is angry with the United States and keeps taunting us.
All right, so that we don't run over, let me just say this, that many people as well as countries take the concept and the position that if you are a friend of my enemy, you are my enemy also. And we're friends with South Korea. South and North Korea have been fighting for a long time, and I'm afraid that's one reason that the North Koreans don't like us. We'll talk some more about it next week. I want to thank our guests for being with us. We appreciate it. We want to thank all of our listeners, callers, viewers, everybody. We'll see you next week. Do something good for somebody and better for even others. See you next week.